You belong in the kitchen, not in a hall of generals. The sneer cut through the noise as Captain Laura Mitchell balanced a tray of wine. No one at that banquet imagined the truth, that beneath her plain server's uniform hung a medal most soldiers would never touch. A flicker of silver at her collar made one man freeze. Then, slowly, the room learned they weren't mocking a waitress, they were mocking a decorated battlefield hero. Hours earlier in the dining hall's back room, Laura tied her apron. Plain black shirt, worn shoes, hair pulled tight. Nothing about her hinted at her past. Around her, young servers laughed about the evening's guests, high-ranking generals with booming voices and polished medals. Laura said little. She cleaned bottles, checked trays, every move precise, like someone who had once kept lives alive under fire. Her coworker, Tommy, nudged her. "Don't you get sick of serving these big shots?" Laura gave a faint smile. "It's honest work." He laughed, never noticing the heaviness in her tone. A faint radio song drifted from the corner. Laura froze mid-step. That 2-unit used to hum it in Afghanistan under burning skies. Laura's face didn't flinch, but her hand gripped the tray tighter. The clink of glass pulled her mind backward. Sand. Smoke. Midnight in Kandahar, 2017. Laura was inside a Humvee. Convoy stretched across a valley road. Then, boom! An IED ripped the world apart. Fire swallowed the lead vehicle. Gunfire poured down from the ridgeline. Ambush! Laura's head slammed the doorframe, ears ringing. Blood streaked her temple, but when she blinked, she saw Private Collins screaming, his legs pinned beneath twisted metal. Without thinking, she crawled into the flames. Heat blistered her skin. She jammed a crowbar under the seat, prying with every ounce of strength. The steel gave way. Collins's body slid free, screaming in agony. "Stay with me," she shouted, dragging him out as bullets sparked against the road. Another explosion. Shrapnel tore into her thigh. She stumbled but didn't stop. 2 more men were down near the burning Humvee. One had his arm shredded. The other was unconscious, bleeding out. Laura slid across the dirt, ripped her own belt off, and cinched a tourniquet so tight the soldier screamed back to life. With her bare hands, she jammed gauze into a sucking chest wound, her own blood dripping onto his uniform. Tracer rounds lit the sky. Enemy fighters moved closer. She pulled the unconscious soldier onto her back and dragged him behind a burning tire, shielding him with her own body. "Mitchell, fall back!" someone shouted. But she didn't. She sprinted back into the open, into the kill zone, to reach Sergeant Vega. His body slumped halfway out of the wreck. She grabbed his vest and pulled with everything left in her. A round grazed her shoulder, ripping flesh, but she didn't let go. Inch by inch, she dragged him across broken glass and fire until 2 Marines grabbed his arms and pulled him into cover. By the time the medevac bird roared overhead, 5 men were alive, because 1 medic refused to let them die. And when she finally collapsed into the dust, bleeding, her last sight was the soldier she'd carried alive, staring at her in stunned silence. The memory snapped like glass breaking. The banquet noise returned. Laughter and clinking glasses filled the air. Laura moved invisibly through it all. Major Reed leaned back, smirking. "Bet those arms couldn't hold 2 trays. The table laughed. Laura set down a glass without flinching. "I manage." A young lieutenant sneered. "She's never even worn a real uniform." His friend added mockingly, "Probably can't even spell sergeant." Laura's lips pressed tight. She didn't react. General Harris barked for a clean glass. A sneer followed. "Women like you belong in kitchens, not halls of warriors." Laura's hands tightened on the tray, but her face stayed calm. One colonel swirled whiskey like it was a game. "This hall's for soldiers, not waitresses in disguise." Laura met his eyes for just a second. "I'm here to work." Her voice was low, sharp, like steel under velvet. The mocking quieted, but not for long. At General Collins's table, Laura bent forward. Her collar shifted. A glint of silver flashed. Collins' words stopped mid-sentence. His eyes narrowed. He'd seen enough medals to recognize one, even for a heartbeat. In the kitchen again, a private spotted something on the ground. "Ma'am, you dropped this." He handed her a small keychain, a tiny metal star. Laura froze, taking it with trembling fingers. "Thanks." She tucked it deep into her pocket, but the weight lingered. Back in the banquet hall, Collins never stopped watching. Another flash of silver at her collar, and this time he rose. His chair scraped, his hand gripped her collar and pulled it aside. The room froze. Hanging on her chest, unmistakable under the lights, the silver star. Laughter died instantly. "That's fake," Reed blurted. A waitress with a silver star? Impossible, Harris barked. But Collins's voice boomed, silencing them. You fools don't recognize her? Captain Laura Mitchell, combat medic, Afghanistan 2017. Shot in the leg and still dragged 5 men out of a burning vehicle. I've read the reports. The room fell into stunned silence. Younger officers whispered, She was the one. I read about that mission. Laura stood frozen, tray still in her hands. Finally she spoke. Some things don't need to be shouted. Her words sliced through the room sharper than a blade. The hall's atmosphere shifted. Generals lowered their glasses. Soldiers stared with wide eyes. One officer hissed bitterly, If she's a hero, why carry trays? Laura's shoulders stiffened. Then she said softly, Because this work doesn't force me to watch anyone else bleed. The silence was heavy. Then Collins roared, Stand, every one of you. Dozens of uniforms rose in unison. Salutes snapped across the hall, toward a woman they had mocked just minutes before. Laura's eyes filled. She didn't salute back. She didn't need to. One officer whispered, Forgive us. Laura's voice was steady. Don't honor me. Honor the ones I saved. The room stayed silent. Respect hung heavier than the chandeliers. And from that day forward, no one called her a waitress again. She was Captain Laura Mitchell, hero, medic, and the silent weight in every soldier's memory.